heard one recently where this man named Tom, he was at Mass one day, one weekend, and he came up to the parish priest after Mass and he said, "Father, I found a wallet packed with money down one of the pews last Sunday after Mass in the church." And the priest then said, "Well, Tom, did you give it back to who it belonged to?" And Tom said, "Not yet, I didn't. I'm still trying to decide, Father, whether it's a temptation from the devil or an answer to my prayer." Good man, Tom. It's a good one. Folks, isn't it interesting that, there's often a question that arises when it comes to Jesus' baptism or where he's being tempted by the devil in the desert. Why does Jesus need to be tempted at all? He's God, isn't he? Isn't that not a contradiction in itself? Why does he need to be baptized at all? We're the ones who get baptized by him, not the other way around. So what gives? And see, friends, it's really strange because the first command of the Holy Spirit to Jesus after he's baptized is to go into the desert to be tempted by Satan. And you see, everybody, the answer to that question is why does Jesus do that is very simple. It's his mission to do these things. As Paul writes in the letter to Hebrews, Jesus, he had to be like us, to be exposed to all the difficulties of the human experience. He had to suffer and to be tempted in order to help those who are tempted. In other words, like you and me. As Pope Benedict himself once said, Jesus enters into the entirety of the human drama of existence. Why? In order to search for the lost sheep and bring them home. That's why Jesus goes into the desert to be tempted, to understand what you and I face on a daily basis so he can help us come out of it. You see, folks, this gospel text we have here this evening, this weekend, it's really important because it exposes the crafty tactic of Satan. Opens up a really important window for all of us who are paying attention to what's going on into the mission of the devil in this world. Because, everybody, at the core of those three temptations that Christ faces in the gospel, which is at the core of them and the core of every temptation all of us face, is this: the act of pushing God aside. That's the core of every single temptation, to push God away more and more, little by little. Because you see, everybody, if we perceive God not as that important, I hear it the whole time, God is more like annoying more so than anything else, because I have more pressing matters to attend to. Real life, daily chores I have to look after. God can come some other time. I'll talk to God in prayer tonight in a little prayer, or I'll go to Mass for Christmas or Easter. That's it, not to worry. Secondary type of thing. Friends, this is the temptation of our time, and always has been. And it's a temptation in our culture and the church at the moment, and including ourselves. Essentially, friends, we're tempted to build a life, a culture, a civilization on our own steam, first and foremost, without reference to God at all. It's the constant temptation we face as a nation, as a race, as families, as individuals, to build our own foundations first and refuse acknowledgement of the divine in our lives, or even the existence of them in the first place. Instead, we focus more on the political and the material, what's here in front of us the whole time. You see, everybody, being tempted by God is a threat to a lot of people. Why? Because we think it's a threat. It's a threat to my wants, my desires, my dreams, my aspirations. God gets in the way a little bit of all that. So what do? We cast them aside. Not that important. Our desires, what happens then? Our desires begin to take hold. Addiction is what happens. We begin to worship our desires, our feelings, concepts of human nature only. Then we're on deep waters. Friends, this is what the enemy, the evil spirit, does truly. The enemy wants us to think that there's a better way. A way where we can abandon the illusions of religion in society. Why? So that we can start to work and make society a better place without God. We don't need religion. We don't need all that stuff. Never mind the church. Never mind any of that stuff. We can do it ourselves. That's what the enemy wants us to think. That's at the heart of those three temptations of Christ in our gospel this evening. So religion and God better get out of the way, essentially. And friends, when you think about it, that logic seems quite sound. It's attractive. It is attractive. A logic, friends, that has defined every totalitarian regime in our history. Every dictatorship has that at its core. For example, Marxism, communism, tried to build a utopia in this world without reference to God at all. We don't need religion. Get rid of it. What happened? It ushered in literally a hell on this earth with untold human suffering. Any political movement, or movement in general, that goes down the route to try and create a society without God, and does so at its peril because it forgets one simple thing. When we take God, who is the highest good of our lives, out of the equation, what we're left then are our own values, our own desires that take his place. And like I said, what do? We worship them instead. And always leads to ruin. And friends, we see it today in two particular areas that I find quite interesting. And the worship of concepts. For example, equality. We're worshiping that like there is no tomorrow in this culture. Like it's the only thing that's important anymore is equality. That's it. You know? What has happened? Where is that leading us in one sense? The worship of equality, a concept. Where is that leading us? To the eradication of what it means to be a human being. Think about it. We have become so equal. We think we've become so equal in our time that we now have eradicated. There is no such thing as male or female anymore. We're so equal. Rubbing down humanity into nothingness. Really dangerous. You know, any difference or beauty of our individual uniqueness is eradicated, and equality becomes a weapon to dehumanize us. Or take the other thing which is taking the church by storm at the moment, in a very dangerous way. The importance of looking after our planet. Now this is in our face 24 hours a day. Which it is a good and important thing to do, to say the least. To look after our world, our environment, absolutely. And I've noticed in the church today, almost every single faith formation program is completely besotted on environmental and climate change activism stuff. Really serious. What happened to the mission of Christ to go out and make disciples of all nations? What happened to the beautiful call of Vatican II to become saints for the times that you and I live in? Has that been forgotten? Again, see, we're pushing it away slowly and slowly, bit by bit. The environmental protection, friends, is now worshipped as the most important thing and has taken many church circles where God used to be in many respects. Why? Because it's real life. It's something we can fix. It's something that I can make this world a better place without God, of course. Dangerous. So our faith, religion, liturgy is just in the way, push it out of the way a little bit. And friends, that again obviously becomes a weapon. I mean, look how we're being coerced now to start eating bugs and insects. I mean, come on, without meat. You know? Cars now are going to become more expensive as time goes on because the more petrol and diesel you use, the more damage you're going to do. So super rich, essentially, will only own cars in the near future. We have to be careful, folks, of using the faith and the church as a political battering ram to create a better society without God. See, friends, Pope Benedict once said, "This is the point of the temptations of Jesus, and all of us face these too, that Satan merely suggests to us that we aim for the reasonable decisions, what makes sense only, to give way to a planned world where God may have his place, but only in the private sphere. You know, say your prayers in your own home. You don't need to bring that to the workplace. Don't be vocal or don't be public about your faith. That's Satan. You know, we have more important work to do. That's what he puts into our heads. So anyone who claims they're able to establish the perfect world has become the fool of Satan, has played right into his hands. I know some people are going to say, "Father Bill, what are you on about in God's name?" I mean, Jesus came into this world. Did he not come into this world to make our world a better place? Is that what the reason Christianity in the first place? To a point, yeah. But that's not what Jesus brought with him. Jesus brought himself. He brought God into this world to give you and me the chance to say no to evil that influences all our lives, little by little. God, who is the truth, the hope, the happiness, and the fullness of love. The only one who can fill our desires of our hearts. So I'm asking everyone here tonight and those in line, this Lent, spend some time in prayer. Look at your life. What is it you could be worshipping where God should be? What's pulling you away from God? From the fullness of truth, peace, and love. And have the courage to change it with His help. Building a better world, friends, it starts here with each and every one of us. God alone is to be worshipped.